So we come to the last panel, and the most, understood as well as misunderstood topic in supply chain management. I think the panelists may not agree, so that's the only advantage that all of us will have. In fact, if you look at the three panels, you've seen technology plays a big role. And over the years, technology has been the only disruptor, unless COVID, right? What are the key critical elements in preparing Indian companies for Make in India or make for the world or make for India? What are the key critical challenges which technology can solve? We'll go to AI a little later. First, let's look at what are the key areas which technology needs to take care of. I thought I'll also follow the same rule of being extempore despite the structure that's given to you, you all. So it brings the best from the team.
So this was a question out of syllabus.
Out of syllabus. I think that's what AI is trying to solve.
So that's the beauty of having discussion with Dr. Singh, right? That he puts you on the spot sometimes with the questions that you are not anticipating to come in. I'll start a little bit with audience engagement, if you allow me. How many of you own a car? If you only one hand up. What is this? Okay, good. So, but that is not the question. The question is, do you have a spare tire in your car? Yes or no? Yes, okay. Okay. The next question, but again, the question is not that. Question is that in last 10 years, how many times that has been useful for you? And have you used it yourself, or you have driven it to a nearby repair center, done it? Like how many times out of this, let's say in last 10 years, and people who are below 25 should not answer because you are not allowed to drive, right? For 10 years. So anyway, how many times that has been useful for you? So then, okay. Now the question is not that. The question is, so should we consider it as a utility or as a burden? Right. So, great. So, okay. My co-panelist says that it is like a lifeboat in Titanic, but yeah, but that did not help either. So great. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make with the reference of Dr. Singh's question is that what can technology solve or not solve? The point that I'm making here is that it is up to us to understand that how ready we are. If let's say today I tell you that please remove that tire from your car, right? So because you have a case, right? You have not used it for in last 10 years. Whenever there is a puncture, you probably drive to a shop nearby in India because puncture shops are nearby. So you go ahead, get it corrected, and then drive along. So it is about the readiness that what it can solve, right? So coming from our background of supply chain, have been in manufacturing, procurement, all, we all know that technology is something which can solve many of the things. Yesterday, Putin was saying that the life expectancy is 70 years in India now, right? So which was 70 years before, 35 years, 40 years. So what has changed? Technology has enabled all of this, right? So now coming to the context of supply chain, my belief is that technology can solve everything. And I take a clue from the last discussion that we had. And many of the fellow panelists from procurement said that we have a voice on the board, right? my voice to the board is that, and because of that, I have been heard. Is let's say for my company, I represent Jockey and Speedo brands. So that is what my company does, Page Industries. And I tell to my board that in next 5 years, if you are going to double the volume, I'm going to supply or serve all of that, probably with the same manpower or less than what we are doing, right? And how will I do this without the help of technology? So in each part of supply chain, I believe that technology has a huge role. And having a bias for technology, I would say that it is there. It has to solve. That's my point. Thank you.
Can I go next?
Yeah.
Taking an example of cars, I think the technological innovation is, one has seen driverless cars. It's a different story in this country though, but world over, driverless cars are innovation. So that's where we are in terms of technology. But let me give you a different perspective over, the respected panel members are from the other side of the industry where I have a, experience from as a service provider. I think the Make in India and the self-sustainable model that the government is trying to make, I think quality plays a very, very, very important part. And for us to be on the quality, for us to be on the global map, we have to ensure that there is consistency in quality, which means that the product that you are supplying to the global users has to be of the utmost and the most best quality that can ever be done. And that is possible only when technology comes into play. So to somebody from the pharma industry, years ago, there would be a hallelujah moment when they used to have a golden batch, which was a combination of everything put together, the best of the skills, the people, the most experienced people, they would come together, track, tune, bring in some sensors to make sure that the golden batch is achieved. The golden batch rule today exists, but it has become so common. Technology has played a big part into it. Therefore, we are the pharmacy to the world today. The regulated markets or the European and American market accept India's products because they are made under the most stringent quality. So that is one aspect of technology that brings us on the map of the world today. Apple phones, for that matter, I see that one point our turnover has tripled in the last 1 year for supply of Apple phones, something which was unthinkable probably 5 years ago. So I'll stop at that. Maybe, sir, you can.
So there are many problems that technology solves, but I'll come back from a seller's point of view. We are of a company that buys and sells products, right? Clicktech has grown from 0 5 years back. Today it is a $2.2 billion company. So from 0 to $2.2 billion is a problem of scale. So the biggest problem that today technology solves for me is scale. How do I scale every year, grow by 40-50%? This looks good on Excel sheet paper that you have grown so much, but the underlying processes have to mature along with that, which is where technology comes in. Second is the enabler. So today I have to probably take 5 decisions in a day which will impact P&L of my company. How do I do that? So that is where data comes in. So I have with Amazon's strength, we have one of the biggest data, customer data, purchase data, etc. All that data pool with us of last 5 years. But we have to quickly crunch it and take decisions. So probably 5 decisions that will impact P&L of my company every day if I have to take. The second biggest enabler is how do I make sense out of the data and bring in patterns which will help me take decisions faster. So these are the two major areas where technology has contributed significantly, and we have been as efficient as anybody in the world.
Good evening. I am Selva. I come from the old school industry of the chemicals or petrochemicals, you can call. So, answering to doctor's question, technology. Yes, technology plays a major role, and you as a company, or we as an entrepreneur, we as an professionals, not only can't rely the technology at that point of time, we also have to anticipate what is the technology is going to change. For example, I will restrict it to my industry. 3 decades back, the source was naphtha. Nobody thought about the shale gas revolution which can happen in the US, which has actually killed the entire European chemical industry. So that was not even anticipated when this industry was just in the nascent stage. So the AI is also, there is something similar to this, so we'll have to be adaptive enough to the technological changes on that. Doctor.
All right. There is often a very simple and basic question which any supply chain professional would ask. What is this AI? How do you use traditional, generative and agentic AI in your supply chain alignment as well as scaling up? But this is a fundamental question that's being asked. And this needs to be understood for any AI program to be successful. So I would like a response from any one of you on this. Because when you have seen the development of AI itself, this has been a very fundamental, growth of AI. And suddenly, from nowhere, AI has emerged as the solutions for all problems. So how do you differentiate these into aligning supply chain problems?
Well, I'll take a shot at that. You see, we as an organization are a data collection company, which means we collect data at source. And you heard since morning people saying that data has to be clean, data has to be hygienic. How does that come in? See, whatever data you feed to any engine, the output is going to be based on that data. Simply put it, garbage in is garbage out. So if you have a clean hygiene data, then models such as AI makes a lot of sense. So to add to what Doctor was saying, technology is one part of the story, but as you bring in more and more data, and this is a data game. AI is no magic pill. It will only help churn the data into some analytical outputs to make informed decision based on what data is getting. And data from the source, which is real time, which is agile, and which is validated, forms the basis or the foundation for any AI model to succeed, generative or agentic or applied. That's how it will function.
I'll take a broad hit on this. Basically, so how people today understand AI and it has come into picture is these large language model chat GPTs that have come into picture. But basis of AI is the machine learning models that have been built over the years. It is not a years development. What large language models have done is basically helped bridge the gap between technology and common people and common planners or non-technology people like us, right? Today I can, so I'll give you examples, right? Recently we wanted to understand what is the fill rate of our products and how it is trending. All we did was we went to this chat GPT. There's another workflow model which is make.com. We went to make.com, we went to ChatGPT and we wrote a few queries there, asking them to pick up the data, analyze, run the workflow, and at real time, gave us this data that where the fill rate has dropped 2 or 3 days in continuous. So what this tool simply does is, and this was done by somebody who's not an engineer. I am not an engineer. I don't understand AI as well as probably somebody who develops all these tools understands. But I could go and make this very simple agent in make.com, which will run every day. In the morning, it will start, it will run the model and it will find out which are those brands where fill rate has dropped in last 2-3 days, and it will bring the top contributors by value and will send a flash to my entire team. Right? So basically, look at it as something that has underlying machine learning models, but which has a language now, where all these chat GPTs, Gemini, you can interact with and enable those tools which are very easy to make. A simple course in general, as a AI generalist, anybody in your team can do it. Right? It is actually a week's job to learn all this. So that is how we are trying to develop. I was also sharing earlier with him that for every problem statement that we want to see as a management, we are developing an agent which will give us that information real time, analyze and give us a crux of these are the vendors you have to act on. These are the issues that currently are on the top of your list. Right? So this is where AI is coming into picture now.
Great points, and particularly great in thanks for making that point, that how it makes easy for people to ask questions and understand the reason or the pains in supply chain. And Dr. Singh has asked a very particular question about how should it is about supply chain, right? So my understanding is there is a product, right, most of us use called Google Maps, correct? And how has it gone into our lives without creating that so much of issue with what we want to interact with, right? Again, the point is that yes, the data has to be right, otherwise it can drive you to a lake as well, rather than to your destination. So that's pretty well understood. But the major point is that how easy for us to change the way we are doing business, right? The problems will still remain same. Dr. Singh told in the previous panel discussion about all supply chain guys will talk about fill rates. So that is still there. We also talk about how much capacity that we are going to use, what is the productivity that we are going to enhance. The critical point that current, I would say, ecosystem or people who come up with that, okay, my solution is AI-based solution and it will help you in doing it better, we are still not able to quantify that how much better it will be. So for an example, can I manufacture same amount of product or same number of, I come from garments, same number of garments with 10% lesser people if I adopt this solution, right? That is particularly in AI, and this is not fill rate, sir, this is productivity. So just thought of clarifying that. We also think about it. So that's how, that's the big pain point that in any case, we are on that journey, and the way I have understood through readings and my initial interaction using Copilot, Microsoft Gemini, that we will be using AI more often, and we'll be using this for supply chain solutions also. So let's say my trucks used to run when I started my career 22 years ago. But if you think about at that point of time, trucks used to run approximately 200 kilometers per day. Now I assume that, and in my estimation, each truck has to run anywhere between 350 to 400 kilometers per day. Has it come only because of technology, or the technology has been an enabler to it? For both of this, the answer is yes, technology has been an enabler, and it has not come only because of technology. So that's the way AI will also happen, that we have to be ready for AI adoption. How, whatever it proposes, we should be ready for those change. If it says so that the process has to change, are we ready to change that? That is an infrastructural issue that we need to solve in the business, and then use the technology to do the advancement as it is needed.
Answering your question, Dr. Singh, basically AI and supply chain are restricted to the our main panel discussion also. Yes, it has really started giving us new insights. Mainly we started off with the general traditional S&OP. From S&OP with the AI, we were able to do a better demand forecasting and seasonality wherever a seasonality is there. And similarly, trying to moderate the individual, I can even map it with my individual sales officer and his way of under projecting or over projecting his sales plan numbers. And coming to the supply chain side, yes, route mapping, the average speed which my fellow panelist was saying, yes, we are able to track it, and we are able to identify certain, in the entire route, there are certain bottlenecks are there. We are able to identify that. And certain places where the traditionally where the drivers normally park in his favorite daba, or there are certain transporters who use their own route. So all these places which manually, which was not possible, we are able to identify. And apart from this, we are also able to identify the other, as a supply chain professional, other my pain point area is my en route stoppage. En route stoppage is how many days it is there in a particular route or in a particular location. And there are certain few customers where we always have a detention. So all these kind of pain points which will take for me to use an Excel, or I have to use an analyst to do it, which is now available, which I can link it up with my dashboard with the visibility to my entire sales team. In that way, AI has definitely started helping. And going forward, we'll have to look at the data compliance part of it, which how do I upload my data into the ChatGPT, or I don't even know whether how my data integrity will be maintained. So this is one major area which all we'll all have to overcome on that.
Just on that, how we do it is very simple. You need not load it on a generic AI. The base models are machine learning models. What you need to do is, you have AI-based laptops coming now. It can create a local engine which is based on the web. So all it will do is, it will go on a web, use the engine that is based on web, but entire data will remain in your laptop. So these are localized AI softwares which work locally on your computer. They use models which are based on the cloud by calling it and operate it on your computer. So the data doesn't go anywhere, but these are specialized environments offered as a service by all these large companies. ChatGPT is something that we use, we share as a public, we use and upload it. We don't use it publicly. Even Microsoft Copilot has that feature, which you can localize it.
I mean, if I can add a little more. Traditionally when apps were designed, people would ask for reports that slowly graduated to dashboards. There were still limitations to that. With the advent of, Doctor, when you say agentic AI, the beauty of agentic AI is it tells you the what and it tells you why. And as a user, you are able to actually create queries on your dashboard the way you would like to, not depend on somebody else to figure out, what is this reporting pattern, what is this dashboard giving, and therefore what is the decision I could take. So the agentic AI, as is evolving in GPT-5 as of now, will allow the users to put in their own queries, and the way your mind works, the way you would want to analyze, it will throw you that kind of data output or an analytical output, which you can take an informed decision on.
That's interesting. Uh, when you look at AI and look at basic data sciences, the difference has to be very clear. Where data sciences operate on your hypothesis, AI operates on its own hypothesis. When you marry with big data analytics that has emerged over a period of time, you see three kinds of analytics that works. One, descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive. Now, if you see all problems in supply chain, they follow this pattern. They have to be described, they have to be forecasted or predicted, and they have to be prescribed. Some prescriptions have to come in, as all of you have said. I think AI has to play all the three roles that is there, rather than just the role of agentic AI, because that could be dangerous. You may not know what you are doing. You would create a black box. And this is how we have treated our ERP system in a big way, and where we have created huge black boxes. For it to be facilitating this kind of descriptive, prescriptive, as well as predictive analytics to take a decision, what are the important steps in managing supply chain that are important for them to be assimilated? Because we were in an organization, a cement company, they had a huge SNOP, and then they say we have one of the best SNOPs, and whenever a demand came from the salesperson, they say this is a dynamic SNOP. They fulfill it at any cost, with any cost to serve value. What needs to be done? Everybody talks about AI from a technical perspective. What is the basic fundamentals that organization needs to prepare for AI to be understood, AI to be used and managed critically well for creating competitive advantage through AI? That's very critical. Let me make it simple. I thought this was getting a little difficult for my panelists. What is the role of organizational architecture in terms of facilitating this AI adoption? Again, I'll make it a little more simple. What is the role of SNOP and IBP in helping AI get managed well? I think that should solve the problem. So if AI can do all these three iterations, then it's useful. And what is that we need to do in organizations?
I can pitch in with the example. Probably you'll understand how we use it, and probably if you want to propagate in your own organizations, you can do that as well. So around a year back, we started this journey of skilling people on AI. We started with just how do you write right prompt. Prompt engineering is engineering in itself. So how you write prompt will result in the right results. If you don't write prompt properly, then the output that will come will be of that degraded quality. So how we did it was, first we exposed people to all the AI models. Second step was skill building. We have a intentional policy of training at least all the required. So we have divided our employees into people who need to know versus good to know in terms of AI. We are training people in AI through these all training partners for them to acclimatize themselves as how AI can be used. I'll give you one example how we have used AI recently and then utilized it in our SNOP. So we have a agentic AI which will every morning it'll wake up, it'll go on all the websites and it'll take out data of how the prices of various products which we purchase trending. it'll go and try to get that information online, right? So recently there is a increase in prices of storage across the world, and there is a 40% increase in prices almost. So this agentic AI was giving us an indication that the prices of this has been trending up for last 2 weeks. Once we got that indication from the agent, what right now you said prescriptive, we don't really take their prescriptions directly. We have our team who will decide what to do, because it has there is a lot in terms of how much we can buy. Those decisions have to be taken. So we gathered as a group as to how much pre-purchase we need to do to make sure we get a competitive advantage in a seller world. So we pre-purchased a lot of inventory, which we are keeping with us. We know the prices will further increase and we will have a competitive advantage in terms of low procurement prices, right? And then we will sell it at competitive rates in future, where maybe the other competitors who have not taken this advantage will not be able to. Secondly, if you look at the entire purchasing process, today 70% of our products, right from forecasting to deciding how what is the trend, etc., is automatically done. There are machine learning based models which will generate how much the product, the demand of product, how it will trend in going forward. It is accurate for next 45 days to 50 days. Basis that, system automatically raises purchase order to the most cost effective supplier that exists in our procurement systems. So that entire 70% procurement is automated. We don't even look at 70% of our, the only buying we look at is where we have got special rates or special provisions, where we need to go and make up additional purchase, because we know we'll go and drop prices which are not known to the world yet, right? So that is where we are in terms of our whole entire forecasting to buying to sales planning in terms of automation.
Okay, I'll actually go down to the basics. For any model to be successful, whether it is descriptive or prescriptive or even preventive, let us ask ourselves, what is our digital transformation roadmap in the supply chain? Firstly is that. 2, we identify what are the critical data points that we need data to be captured from. 3 is, what is the best technology that we would want to use, which is suitable for the processes that we follow, and then form a process or a roadmap to apply those. Once you have these parameters clear, you will know where exactly these data points are giving you the data that you derive from. Then the rest becomes a little easier for you to follow. Whether it is generative, applied, or agentic, you will need an authentic data source to actually give you an output. The other thing that we prescribe is organizations should make people responsible for the quality of data that is generated, as they would make responsible for the throughput of a product. So once people are responsible for generating good quality data, I think the rest would kind of become pretty easy.
I do agree with Dinesh. I mean, not only for AI, for that matter, for any kind of an analytics to run, data is important. But unfortunately, I don't know whether we have a systemic issue or I don't know, but data is always a problem. I mean, I was discussing yesterday in another conference. So one of the panelists mentioned that in Kerala, they had a problem because in Kerala, there is no door numbers or street numbers. It only goes by the building number. I mean, building name. So the Google map has to adapt itself to identify that place. So the kind of industry which we operate in is that its ecosystem itself is fragmented and the size varies. You have the top level companies which are already data savvy, and we also have middle level and small level where the digital maturity is not there. So the digital maturity, if it's uniform across, or it's some standardization in even our supply chain, for example, the truck sizes or the truck load capacities or the buyers pattern, buying pattern, everything varies. So AI definitely is started helping us. I mean, I would like to touch upon the company which I am working with. We started this journey a year back. We started picking up some few projects, low-hanging fruits where the ROIs are very, very high. For us to get convinced that yes, this is going to work, and there was a push down from the top management, which really helped us to adapt it. Now we are coming into the next stage, like middle level projects where the ROIs are not that great, but it is helping us to improve our planning process and our process improvements which we are working on. Definitely it is working on.
Just to answer that, how this can help and how we are visualizing this to help from AI adoption perspective is, right now we do definitely from our S&OP to IBP processes. All of that depend a lot of data that we pull in from different sources, right? And these sources are primarily our ERP system and aided by the local systems. Now, we are very good at data generation. So we capture each data, how many person, how many minutes, how many trucks, how many picks, how many dispatches, right? All of that, how many orders we have missed, how many we scout different website to see that, how many stockouts we had. So all of that is very, very nicely coming in. So from all the data points that we are gathering, what are we able to definitely convert them into some kind of actions is something that's the question that we have to answer. And that is a big use case for us. And that too in real time how it can be done. So for an example, during monsoon time, a large part of the country was inaccessible. And once that is happening, we are still working on the forecast that we received 2 weeks back, right? So, and we are not knowing that what is going to be, how we are going to end the month and what will be the inventory levels. So, that kind of, and if we can quickly run around and not in the current, but if we are able to input that into IBP cycle and get a finance alignment that how much, where can we postpone, delay, bring it forward, all of those discussions and prescription can come from AI itself, it will reduce a lot of time in making that decision. So it goes from one function to other function to understand what is happening and then make a decision, then make a final decision. It is not a single person decision or somebody decides. One of my colleagues is sitting here in the forum and handles new product introduction. Now, new product introduction for us has to meet the season date. Now, if the season date is being met, and we recently, there was a recent problem about the quality of the fabric, and if we are not able to do that, what should be done? How should we now correct the forecast? What is the replacement product? All of that analysis takes 1 week to 10 days, and in that 1 week to 10 days, the season is gone, right? So that's the impact on business. And that's the use case and, how the problem can be described, how it can be predicted, and what is the prescription then it can come. So those are the examples that where we believe that it can solve us for.
All right. I think we have 6 minutes and few questions from the audience. I think it's a very well understood topic, right?
No, the audience is already bored. So, still driving the car or with the Google Maps? Let us come back to the world of AI. I'll give you certain more hints, right? So, artificial intelligence is something where we are undermining the human intelligence, right? And to lack of better word, is artificial intelligence a challenge to human intelligence is a question that you can answer, you can think about. For me, I come from a supply chain background, and if somebody comes with an AI solution, that is an insult to my human intelligence. So that's how I take it. But yeah, you could take it forward from there.
Although I think AI is still a misnomer, it's not intelligent yet. I think it'll take some time for these models to get developed and start actually thinking. They are just processing large amount of data and bringing in patterns in that right now, which even humans could have done if we are given enough time. They are just doing it faster. So, but outputs that I have seen from all the work we have done so far still doesn't think too much.
But to be on the optimistic side, Anubhav and I were discussing earlier in the afternoon on some other point. I think they have taken a lot of big steps, and to your point which you were mentioning earlier, we've kind of built an engine which does exactly that. You said monsoon is a time which is predictable. So as a system, it can tell you based on the data that is brought in by GPT-5, it can tell you, there could be a disruption in your supply chain in the next 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and hence do you want to take countermeasures to do that? So there is already a system in place, there is already an engine in place. But I was going to tell him, I will connect with you later, but since he says AI solution, if you come to me with, it will challenge my intelligence, I'm thinking twice whether I should do that or not.
No, that's not the point. The point that I'm making is currently that's the case, right? That it has not solved much of the problem. As rightly you were saying that, it is yet, if given time, human could solve those problems. I would add that human should also have that kind of consistency in their efforts. So that is also one thing that we lack big time when we put it on human. There is no standardization of work. People do it differently. They have different assumptions. And therefore, the automation and machine learning and therefore AI could come. We are mentioning this as AI, artificial intelligence. Intelligence, even if I say human intelligence is also artificial. I can artificially pretend that I am intelligent. But that's the case. All the respect to the technology that we bring in, that is the way we have to take it forward. It is something that we all have to think towards. It has been proven that technology changes lives, changes a lot of things around, and therefore bias towards technology is a good thing to have. So yes, we can connect.
Thank you. Yeah. Just one question for the panel. So when it comes to AI, discussions about AI, always there is this element of ROI that comes into play, right? So what kind of ROI are you seeing already, or what kind of ROI are you using to justify the investment in AI at this point?
It's a quite difficult question to answer. That's why what I said is there are multiple projects in the AI which can be done. There are certain projects which ROIs are very, very high. There are certain projects which we feel that as a ROI it is not justifiable. Like if someone few decades back when SAP was getting implemented, nobody would have justified its ROI.
So what are those ROIs? What are you seeing today? Where you said the ROI was high. Is it cost saving? Is it resource optimization?
It's a mix of everything. See, again, certain things I'll not be able to quantify, like man hours. Route routing. So certain things I'm able to quantify, certain things I'm not able to quantify. So like we've talked about the human element. If I'm able to key in with my individual sales officer and his customer who is planning, I'm able to get some kind of insights, which we know as an overall, when I look at this Excel file, which I was able to comprehend after a few years, which A is able to tell me, yes, he is underplaying or he is over-projecting. Maybe he is anticipating a shortage in my product, so he is over-projecting. As a human, we all try to do what. So certain insights are very interesting, Certain things we'll have to wait and see. Say like what he was suggesting, that the more you ask intelligent questions to AI, it throws out better results out of it.
Just to add to the ROI thing, ROI, I would say that it is a leadership estimate for us, right? So it is something that we have to say that and put on the table something. Otherwise, your project is not going to see the light of the day. So some of the examples, right? And the challenges could be there. Let's say, for an example, and just giving you an example that 10 crore is the logistics cost for a certain lane or certain category. And I say that, and after a year, we demonstrate that, it is, now we have improved it. Instead of 10 crore, we have spent 9 crores, for an example. And 1 crore, and then, and again, we talked about, just the way I talked about the improvement in terms of per day truck time from 200 kilometer to 350 to 400 kilometer that we estimate. Can we all attribute everything to technology, or is it like, can we also write the technology off? Both of the answers are not right. So putting on the table that yes, let's say, I would say, and for my estimate in that case, I presented that we will be saving 0.3% of the logistics cost because of technology improvement. And yes, we achieved more, but I am not attributing it only to technology. It is a lot of effort that goes into it. So that's a kind of way to work around.
Yeah, one more question. My name is Kuldeepak Singh. I am from Godrej. So the question is, there is always a high risk of kind of element in when we are using AI, and it has pros and cons both. So what are the steps being taken, or you have in use case, what are the kind of preventive measures are being used for the data integrity as well as the computer analysis, or my data is not throwing to them by the AI? How can we stop that, and what are the ways to further enhance this, something protocol kind of thing? I am looking at some answers in a generic way when it will do.
So I can talk about my company and what we are doing. So again, as I think I was talking earlier, using AI does not mean that you necessarily have to make your data public. You can localize your database, within your database, the data, and then call the models from online and do the processing within your laptops or computers or desktops that are based inside your organization. You need not take your data to a public platform or a public cloud from where it can be accessed. From a data integrity point of view, there are offers that are made by all these AI companies, which whether it is Microsoft, Google, whoever it is, all of them offer localized environments where you can use AI models. So that is one. Second is, of course, you have to train people how to use data on AI and where and what level of information, because you necessarily will not get all data in your own environment. You will sometimes have to access public databases, right? So how do you query the public databases? That training has to be given to your employees so that when you are accessing public databases, you are not disclosing something that is confidential to your organization. So that is there. Honestly, we have not dwelled deep enough yet to talk more about what future risks that will come in. We are not aware of now, but these are the two major things that we have done to have data security for our organization.
Thank you, Anubhav.
Thank you.
I think we come to an end. It's time up. Great discussion on something called AI. The only take that I have from this particular discussion is that if you look at the use of AI in supply chain orchestration for competitive advantages, we need to build up our tech intensity build up digital maturity and digital democratization, as what Anubhav was talking about, so that you can actually protect your data and marry this with your very well aligned strategic SNOP or integrated business planning, because that's very important for the continuity as well as security of it, and also aligning with your supply chain and business goals. So thank you very much.